in my groups. We are hopefully, this is always such an awkward time, isn't it? Such an awkward time, embarrassing. I should have come in even earlier to make sure this is all streaming to the right place. Okay, guys, I think we are now live in the Facebook group. If anyone is in the Facebook group, give me a little thumbs up. Let me know that you can see me and you can hear me. I can see that I'm live in there. I think, guys, if you are watching in the Facebook group, there will be a bit of a lag, a bit of a delay on the Facebook side of things. But if you are here on Zoom with me, then we should be live and everything should be working fine. We should all be here ready to get going. So I will just double check, go into the Facebook group, make sure my notifications are all turned off, and I have all of that kind of fun stuff. There's housekeeping things that we have to do this end, of course, as well. So I should be able to close that down. And let's get cracking then, guys. Hi, welcome. This is, I'm so excited to have you guys here. So this is the first class in our series for the Unforgettable Brand event. And we are going to be going live at 7:30 every night this week. So we've got 3 workshops and then we've got 2 kind of Q and review sessions. Now, Q and review sessions are what they've come to be called within my programs and when I'm coaching with my branding one-to-one clients, because it's not just about asking questions and getting kind of your questions answered. These sessions are really active sessions to be able to bring anything that you were working on in your brand to get reviewed. So that's why it's Q and review. Of course, it rhymes, which just makes my heart sing a little bit. So feel free this week to come and participate in those Q and review sessions and bring whatever you're working on in your brand right now so that we can really dig into that as we work through this process together. So tonight, our first workshop is Your Brand. It's deeper than it looks. And I love that name. So we're going to go into that now. I'm going to go and share my screen with you guys. That's the one. Check that I am sharing the right screen. So hopefully now you should be able to see my beautiful slides. I can keep my face here for you as well if you'd like to be able to see me as we go through this. So here's my slides. Hopefully you can see them on screen. Let me know that you can see and hear things. I want to make sure we're all good. We are all good. Excellent. Okay, brilliant. So your brand, it's deeper than it looks. So I'm so excited, like I just said, to get started with you tonight. But who has been loving already the questions that we got started with in our welcome week? See, those questions, I had this sneaky little idea that we should really get started before these workshops. And that welcome week, that little pre-event week fun that we had with those questions were really all about starting to kind of build your brand before we got kind of cracking with the official workshops. And why did I do that? Because if there is one thing I know about running a business right now on my 8-hour week, like I've been doing for the kind of last couple of years whilst I've had my little ones around, then time is so very precious. And as much as I really love kind of getting to know you, I also love conversations with a purpose. Now, I'm not very good at small talk. Never been very good at small talk. And so these questions were really designed to help me kind of show you how easy it is to uncover your own brand of unforgettable. Now, of course, there's a little bit more to creating your brand than those kind of quick 5 questions, but those are a really great start. So before we do dive into what it does take to build an unforgettable brand, we've got a few housekeeping items. So hold on and let's get through those pretty quick. So first up, eyes up. Now turn off your phone or your emails or, whatever it is that might be distracting you this evening, because I know for one, I used to absolutely hate it when so I was sat on the other side of the screen to this. I used to absolutely believe that I could, concentrate on what my phone was doing or what my email was doing or, something else going on at the other side. But you know what? It doesn't work. When you're concentrating on all of those other things, you're not concentrating on your brand. So I've shown up for workshops before and I have absolutely left with that kind of feeling that after a few minutes that there wasn't any content or nothing had happened. And it was mostly because I got distracted. So don't do that for yourself here. Be here tonight. You really deserve an hour for yourself, for your brand. And I value your time as much as I value my own here. So I will not be dragging this out for longer than we need to. Most of the sessions I've ever run have never gone over 40 minutes. Now, I can't tell you exactly how long this session is going to be because this is absolutely all brand new content and I haven't actually had a chance to do kind of a run through of this myself yet. So I don't know exactly how long it's going to take, but I have never gone over 40 minutes. So I will do my best to stay within that this evening. So put your phone down and really kind of dive in with me here. Next up, take notes. Now, I am all for making notes. Even when you have all the handouts in the world kind of given to you, there's really something about putting pen to paper. And there's actually scientific research into this, I know, that makes something stick. So go and grab a pen, grab that nearest scrap of paper or your lovely notebook, whatever you've got at hand, and get ready to jot down a few things that pique your attention as we're going through this content. Now, you don't need to write full notes. Just grab the couple of things that stand out to you tonight, make a little note of them and come back to them and take action on them this week. Because for all the love of information and training that there is out there, unless you actually take action on these things, there's not much point. So make a promise to yourself to take notes and to really take action on what we're going to go through tonight. Now, there's also a side effect of making notes on your favorite things and things that come up, those memorable moments, or as they will become known this week, your unforgettable moments, because those things are going to give you a little chance to win something fun with me this week. So all you need to do to be able to get an entry into the prize draw is going to be sharing your unforgettable moments. So take a note of those as we go through this class, and that will really help you to get an entry into that prize draw. So ask questions. Now, while you are jotting down all of this stuff, make a note of any questions that come up. And as we work through this content, they may well be answered. But if they aren't, then I am here for you all this week. So make the most of that and ask as many questions as you want. Now, I will hang around for a little bit this evening after this session. So if you've got any real quick fire questions, we can go through those then. But we've got dedicated Q and review sessions. So I just talked about those. So we've got those set up. So if you've got any big questions, any juicy questions about your brand, about what it takes to really create your brand unforgettable from your brand perspective, then let me know and I will get those questions answered for you. Okay, finally, next slide. I hope I'm on the right slide then. Get cracking. Now, this is my all-time favorite request and part of my housekeeping that I love the most. I want you guys to get cracking. So as much as I am sure that you are going to love hearing me talk all this week, you are here to really design your own brand of unforgettable. And to do that, you've got to do the work. So take what you learn here and really get cracking with it. So I want you to kind of start trying out the things that we're going to be talking about on your own brand. And then, as I say, bring those workings with you to the Q and review sessions, because we've got one of those tomorrow and we've got another one on Thursday. And I want you to take action and get as much as you can from this time together. So show up, do the work, and I will absolutely show up and do the work with you. So one of my favorite ways to get around this is thinking about this as a paid program. So treat this week like you have paid for it. Now, okay, you haven't invested cash here, but don't fall into the trap of thinking that that means that you aren't investing something really valuable, which is your time. Time, very valuable thing right now. So make sure that this doesn't end up in that kind of pile of things that you said that you were going to work through, free stuff that you wanted to consume, but you never actually got around to. Okay, enough said. Let's get cracking. So first up, I thought I'd better say hello. That's me with a cuppa. I'm Dee, and I'm just going to get right to it. I am a disobedient internet entrepreneur. I'm a creative designer, I am a brand launcher, and I am a bit of a frequent swearer. So if you've got any little ears around you right now, it might be a really good idea to kind of cover those up. But I am also a huge, huge, huge believer in being all out, unapologetically you. Showing up how you want and leaving your unforgettable mark in business and in life. That's what I'm here to help you do. And when I'm not kind of fighting that good fight of helping you create a brand that you love, that your customers love, that even your competition loves, then you will mostly find me building Lego with my 3-year-old, or kind of stopping my 1-year-old trying to climb anything that looks dangerous. She is into absolutely everything right now. And you will also find me, as per that picture, drinking a cup of coffee. I would have a coffee with me right now, but it's a little bit late for a coffee this time of evening. So I've got my vat of water with me. So I am also the founder of By Design and Brand Unlaunch. And I'm also the creator of the CTFO process and this very event that we are in right now, the Unforgettable Brand Event. So that's me. Let's get cracking. Let's talk about your brand because it is deeper than it looks. So I love this title. It says so much in really quite just a few words, which is absolutely one of my most favorite things to do, and visually and verbally. It's to really kind of get the message across in the most effective way, but in the least amount of words. So in this workshop, we are going to dive into what makes a brand unforgettable, who you need to be able to kind of create that brand of unforgettable, why you even need an unforgettable brand in the first place, and how to design your unforgettable brand character. That's the first thing that we are going to really put pen to paper with and take some serious action on. So let me just pause a second before we get cracking. And I just want to check that we are all working okay. Okay. So what does creating an unforgettable brand look like to you? Now, I asked this question when you first joined the Facebook group, but I am asking it again now so that we can really set our intentions for our time together here. So go and grab up that pen and paper and take a minute to really think about what you want out of your brand. I want you to ask yourself again why you are here and what you want from our week together. So what does creating that unforgettable brand really look like to you? Make a note, and I will just give you a minute to make a note now whilst I just log in to Facebook again and check where we are. It's good. It's good. I can see people in the Facebook group watching. It's always fun to watch. So I just wanted to check, but I will turn that off again so we don't get any weird interference or anything like that. So hopefully that's given you a couple of minutes there to think about what creating an unforgettable brand really does mean to you and what that looks like to you. So I want you to make a note of that now. And then if you are up for sharing that post in the Facebook group, then please do, or pop it in a private message to me, because I really, really, really would like to hear from you guys as we work through this process together. And there is no right or wrong answer here. And there's no judgment, of course. So it's just a really great practice to get into and to really start us off on the right foot together. So there's no rush either. So if you do want to take a little bit of time to think about this, you want to take a bit longer, you want to wait till we've got through the full class and then come back, do whatever works best for you, which is also a very good practice to get into, especially when it comes to your brand, doing what works for you first. So what makes a brand unforgettable? The short answer to this is you, which is only really short, I suppose, in the number of letters that it has, because actually designing a brand that is based on you is a lot harder than it first might seem. You know, as the saying goes, you can't see the picture from inside the frame. I think that's the right way around, which is what you're kind of trying to do when you are creating a brand for your own business, which is why, one of the many reasons, that it is always best to have someone, preferably someone that kind of understands the branding process, with you there, holding up the mirror for you so that you can see what you need to, and you can reflect all of the bits that you need to build into your brand, which is why I am here with you today. And that is what we're going to be doing this week. I'm going to really be holding up the mirror here and helping you see what bits you really need to focus on to bring into your brand to really help build that unforgettable brand for your business. So you can't see the picture from inside the frame. And I can't really remember exactly where I first heard that quote, but I do love it because it's so true for all of us. And when I was working on my own brand, it was the absolute hardest thing to do when you don't have somebody there really helping you see what's inside of the frame. And when Julie, my lovely Julie, joined the first Unforgettable Brand event that I ran, you know, she was working really hard on her brand herself for a short while already. And Julie is a coach, so she knows the value of having someone be the mirror. But she'd never really looked at it that way with her own brand until we did this work together. And it was over those short 5 days that she came out the other end with a clear plan of what makes her unforgettable to her perfect customers and who those perfect customers really actually were. It was a lot different to what she thought at the start, which is why I love this event that we are working through and that we're getting started with today so much, because of the transformations that really can happen together here by holding up that mirror as we work through these 5 days together. And it's only 5 days, but the transformation can be huge when you show up and you take part and you really dive into the activities that we are going to be doing together. So designing that unforgettable brand for your business is more than your visuals. It is more than your values or your voice. It's more than just a way to get noticed or to get sales or to up level your value or to give you that kind of real quick fix confidence boost before you head out to that next meeting. Because designing an unforgettable brand is in everything that you do in your business. So designing an unforgettable brand connects you to your audience in a way that they just won't forget, hence the unforgettableness of it all. And it really does kind of help nurture them through all of the kind of stages of their journey with you, from that kind of first impression through to becoming a lifelong kind of paying fan. And, you know, we all know the saying, it's bounded around all the time, that it's cheaper to keep kind of your existing customers than it is to go out and find new ones every single day. But when you have an unforgettable brand, your brand does that hard work for you. It finds your perfect audience for you. It connects with your perfect customers, and it builds that know, like, and trust factor. But it goes deeper than the know, like, and trust. It builds the want and need factor. And that is the missing part of that old saying, because it's no longer enough to just be known and to be liked and to be trusted by your audience. If you really want people to buy from you, then they have to want and need what you've got too. So I like this little analogy. Stick with me here. You could be building a really highly engaged friend zone brand. And that's what I'm calling it these days. These are the brands, you know, the ones that only work on that kind of know, like, and trust factor, because you become the friend, the one that everyone goes to for advice, but no one's asking out on a date, as it were. So I made a note to kind of tell you a little bit about Paul, who was a guy that came to me with his brand when it was firmly in this kind of friend zone. And that's what made me come up with this idea of having a friend zone brand, because his brand on paper was doing, you know, pretty well. He was getting a lot of likes on social media, and he was getting open rates were pretty sky high on his emails, and he was getting all sorts of love and attention online in different ways, but he wasn't really seeing the kind of sales that he believed he should have, and that he was seeing that his competition were having, which, you know, opens up a whole new world of brand comparativitis when you start looking at what your competitors are doing. So we really focused when we were working together on building that want and need factor into his brand. So making his brand story more desirable to his perfect customers, really understanding who those perfect customers were, and getting really clear on who they were, not just, you know, surface level stuff, getting really clear on those perfect customers, making the customers the friend zone, understanding them better than they were getting to know you, and kind of telling his story in a more consistent visual and verbal way that got people wanting his brand more than perhaps they needed it. That was the clear thing. Getting people to want what you've got. That's the goal of your unforgettable brand. And that is really where things start to get unforgettable in your business. Because designing an unforgettable brand that really connects you to the want and need feeling that your customers are having is when you're going to start to really see some traction in your brand, and you're going to start to see things really kick off, because your audience will know you, they will like you, they will trust you, but now we want them to both want and need what you've got. And that's the power of an unforgettable brand. You become the one that your perfect customer wants, and you become the kind of unforgettable choice for your customers. But how do you do this? So let's talk about the indisputable power of branding. So your brand has the power to increase the value of your product or service. That's a given. And I'm going to share an example with you now that I share a lot with my brand and launch members, because it's one that's out there in so many different ways. And I've done it before talking about candles. You can do it before about talking about shoes. You can do it talking about any kind of product out there. There's so many examples of this, and it's a really great example. So let's take the humble coffee cup. So both of these are white cups, both contain coffee, but how much are they worth? So with no branding attached to this, the coffee is simply a cup of coffee. The value could be whatever that is to you. You're making up the value. The customer, as the customer, whatever you think the value of a cup of coffee is in a white paper cup, you're the one deciding it. But let's say this cup on the left is from the supermarket and you got it free, for example, for being a club member or spending lots of money on your weekly shop. Its value to you actually as a cup of coffee is probably thinking only a couple of pence, because really the profit margin that's involved in coffee, it's huge. We should all be in the coffee industry. So you're not going to think much of that cup of coffee. You're not going to think much of the value of that cup of coffee because it's just a free kind of cup of coffee. So you're not thinking much. However, let's attach this very well-known brand logo to the cup of coffee, and suddenly you are anchoring the price of this coffee to the value that this brand has, really, to what the story you have in your mind is for the value of this brand. So you're a part of the Starbucks tribe now, and you are paying for that brand association above the cost of the coffee. Coffee might be a little bit better, who knows? But that's not what we're the point of this. So simply put, this is just illustrating really how your brand increases your value. So how could you increase the value of your product or service just by having a simple, more effective, better brand? So could it be, a better logo, a more memorable logo, or could it be a distinct visual identity or a captivating kind of brand story that really connects with your customers? Or is it all in the better brand message, in that positioning, the messaging that really works towards your brand goals? So increasing the perceived value is just one of the many benefits of branding, but it's also one of the most lucrative. So don't forget the indisputable power of branding and what that can really do for your business. So how do you use this power of branding in your brand? You got to look at your values, your voice, your message, your personality, your style, and your brand story, and ask yourself, how human is your brand? So can you relate to it? Can your customers relate? Do your values match those of your customers? Does your brand feel like you are having a conversation with a human? Because people want to connect with people. And as more and more business is really happening online, building the human element into your brand, designing a real personal connection through your brand is more important now than ever. And creating an unforgettable brand is really building a system for connecting with people consistently through your brand, be it the verbal, the visual, and that visceral feeling. So it's got to be built in a way that feels like you really are having conversations personally. Now, whether you are actually face to face, or maybe you are just facing a computer all the time, your feeling of interacting with your brand feels like interacting with a person. Making your brand human, having that human connection feeling, is the easiest way to becoming unforgettable in the mind of your audience. And it always, always, always comes back down to the way that you make people feel. Feelings. They deserve to be big and bold across this screen. They are so very important in your brand, in everything we do. And it's not really where most people start. Most people start with what they do. And it is kind of easy to see why, especially if you are in a market that you don't really think people really feel much towards. Now, I I mean, I have this conversation quite often with my husband. He's in the STEAM industry, which if there is one place that you think then that this idea of feelings is not going to apply, then it's here. But it still does, because people make buying decisions all the time based on how they feel. Whether that's something that you are consciously paying attention to or not, it doesn't really matter. It's still happening. And the longer you ignore how important creating this sense of feeling is in your business and your brand, then the more opportunities for sales that you are missing out on. But it's not just about sales. It's about connection. It's about building something that really lives on, that is unforgettable. Because we, us, crazy emotional human beings, really do buy based on feelings. I mean, if we bought solely based on logic, or the sensible option, or the most kind of cost effective, or the fastest, or the cheapest, then we would probably all be out of jobs pretty quickly, because we'd all be trying to compete on this, and there would only ever be one person able to win on that category. So ask yourself this though. When did you really last buy something because it was the logical choice? And you might start off looking for the smartest or the fastest or the best version of something, and that you think you're going to be buying it because of that logical sense. But when it really came down to the sale, when it came down to opening your wallet and getting your cash out, what was it that made you buy? It's usually a sense of feeling. You felt something that really controls that urge to buy. So ask yourself this: how many times have you wanted to buy something because you just wanted it more than the other options? You don't know why, but you wanted that thing more than the rest. It made you feel something more. It connected to your values, and it gave you that gut feeling that this is what I need. It's what I want. I mean, the way that people connect with your brand really is the way that they connect with how they feel. So your brand isn't so much about who you are. It's about how it makes your customers feel. And it's that feeling that really comes from why you do what you do, not what you do. That's how you, as a brand owner, as a business owner, connect to the feeling side of your brand. So as the wonderful Simon goes into way more detail on in his book, Start With Why. I mean, if you haven't read that, I do recommend it. It is, it's a good one to add to your reading list. But people never care what you do, only why you do it. And it's not just the kind of smaller, easier to personalize brands that are catching on to this. Some of the biggest names out there really understand this and use it to their brand advantage better than most. I mean, most do pop it right out there in their taglines. So I've got a couple of examples here. Just a fun way of showing you how your why for a business can fit into your brand. So think different. I mean, who's this? Anyone know? It's Apple. Of course, it's Apple. I mean, Apple wants people to think differently. That's their why. And that's right up there, front and center of everything they do in their brand. Then you've got the ultimate driving machine. Any guesses for who this is? It's BMW. And BMW aren't telling you what they do. It's not, hey, we make cars and they're pretty good. Nope, they are the ultimate driving machine. It's a machine, it's not a car. And it's not pretty good. It's the ultimate. Okay. The happiest place on earth. Where is the happiest place on earth? Of course, it is Disney. Now, this is one of my all-time favorite examples. And I've used this one many times because Disney isn't just a theme park or a day out with the kids. Day is the happiest place on earth, and that's their why. So when it comes to everything that they create, whether it's the merchandise or the films, it all comes back to that why, creating the happiest place on earth. Whether you're in your own home, you're in the cinema, you're in one of their parks, wherever you're experiencing the Disney brand, you are in the happiest place on earth. But it's not just these big guys doing it. As I said, remember that question I asked you about your business crushes, and you told me who your business crushes were. They are all at it too. So some of the top ones that came up were Stu McLaren, Denise Duffield Thomas, Jasmine Star, Kate Northrup. They are all at it. So when you think about what it is that makes you enjoy these people so much, What is it about their brands that really gets you choosing them above all others? Is it the fonts that they use? Is it their logo? Is it their excellent color choices? I mean, can you even remember what their logo actually looks like? Or is it something else? Is it their message, their values, their why? So, what's your why? Just going to take a little swig of water. We're getting there, guys. We are getting there. If you want to make people feel connected to your brand, then you have to start with your why. So what's my why? So my why, as it turns out, is all around it's deeper than it looks. Your brand. That's the title of this whole workshop. But actually, a huge part of my why is helping people see how they already have an unforgettable brand and that it's there right inside you right now. You just have to see it and be it. So when you know what your why is, and that doesn't have to be your why kind of set in stone for life, you can absolutely change your why. As your brand changes, as you change, these things can grow and evolve, and they really should grow and evolve, which is why I think it's so important to understand the kind of process of getting to your brand, of how to brand yourself. So you can adjust and tweak and change these things, and you can let them develop and grow with you as your business grows, so that you don't get stuck with a brand that doesn't serve you or your why in the future. So then once you know your why, you can really get into the kind of how and the what of what you do. So guys, what is your why? I want you to write the first thing that comes into your head right now, and then come back to this at the end of the class. And I want you to kind of see how that may have developed. So who do you need to be to become an unforgettable brand? Now, stick with me on this one, because you have to be the brand that you want to be before you have the brand that you want. Bit chicken and egg, isn't it? So I don't know where I really kind of first heard the phrase be, do, have, but I know that my friend and launch coach Laura uses it all the time when it comes to talking about launch mindset. And the same really is true for your brand mindset, because you do have to be the brand that you want to become before you can become it. And like I say, it does sound a bit chicken and egg, but it makes a whole lot of sense when it comes to designing an unforgettable brand, because when you're designing a brand for your business, you have to design a brand for the brand that you want to have, not the one that you already have. So you are designing for that next stage of your business, not the stage that you're in right now. Your brand should always be kind of looking ahead and be the visual marker for where you want your business to be. You have to kind of be that brand now. You have to design for it and create it visually, verbally, viscerally. I always struggle on that word after I haven't had enough water. So you have to really get comfortable though, and confident in the message that you want to be the future version of your brand. And you have to be consistent in showing up that way, visually, verbally, viscerally. You have to be that brand when you are connecting with your audience, in the value that you share, in designing your unforgettable brand. You really are creating the ultimate visualization tool for your business. You quite literally are creating a visual representation of the vision that you have for your business, which is one of the reasons why it's so important to take your time to create an unforgettable brand for yourself. It's not just a luxury item. It's something that you really need to do to be able to become the business and the brand that you want to become. And you do get to do that right here with me starting this week. So we are gonna really dig into getting started with your unforgettable brand vision, which is why you need an unforgettable brand vision really now, because by now we should all really agree that your brand is not your logo. We know that by now. I hopefully don't need to go repeating that over and over again, because your logo is just one of the elements that make up your brand. It's one of those kind of external elements that people see. And that's why it is really easy to get kind of fixated on the external stuff, on the logos, on the fonts, on the colors. And they are really important. But your brand is a system made up of all of these external and internal elements. So you've got your logo, your color, your fonts, these are all part of the visual identity. I mean, your graphical elements, your icons, your image style, all of this is part of the visual identity system. And that is part of your brand. It's inside your brand. This is a lot of the external part of your brand system, but it's only a really tiny fraction of the whole brand system. So I put just a few bits together here to show you, if my slide is going to catch up with me. Hopefully I haven't gone too far. There we go. The brand system. So if you have a little look, we have got things like your logo and your color and your fonts. They're all up there on the right hand side underneath that kind of visual part of your brand. But then you've got your story and your what's at your core and your voice and the you factor, who you really are. That's quite an important part of your brand. And the competition and your tribe and your promise and your values and your vision. That's all the kind of like front facing stuff, the stuff there at the top. Then these all kind of fit into the positioning of you and your character and your verbal and your visual. And that all is broken down then into the strategy side of your brand and the design side of your brand. And then, of course, we can break that down even more into what's on the internal of your brand and what's on the external of your brand. And it's all these things. And there's many more to just the ones I've put down on here. We'd be here all night if I had to list out every single element that went into creating your brand system. But these are all of the things that layer up to create your unforgettable brand. Because your brand really is you, and it is everything that you do. It's your customers, it's the experience your customers have with your product, your service, you. It's what they think and they feel and they say about you, whether to your face or behind your back. I mean, your brand really is your people. It's the people that work for you. It's the people around you. It's your offices. It's your emails. It's the way that you answer the phone. I mean, it's how you even just reply to customers' really irritating requests. I love a little example that I show of this. If you work with me one-to-one, when you get my kind of terms and conditions and the process that we go through, it's got my brand voice and character in there. Just because your terms and conditions are a legal part and all of that stuff that you have to do doesn't mean that you have to use all of the boring legal jargon. Of course, there's some legal stuff you have to put in, but you can deliver it in a way that fits your brand style. So yes, of course, your brand is your logo and it's your messaging and it's your visuals. But if you really remove the logo from your website right now, would people still know it's you? And that's always one of the fun kind of little benchmark testing things that you can do to know whether you have created an unforgettable brand. If you cover up the logo on your website, would your customers still know that that was you? Or could they think perhaps it was one of your competition, your competitors? Oh, I'm going to take another swig of water. Think about that for a minute, because it's quite a quick fix to go and have a look at your website, cover up your logo and see how you feel. Can you tell that it's still you from the visuals, from the color system, from the messaging, from the values, from all of that visceral feeling that you get from just looking at a web page? Okay. Oh, here we go. We are rattling through. We are almost towards the end of this session. Your brand, it is everything, and everything is your brand. This is one of my favorite slides. So your brand really should be built on your why, your vision, and your values. It's these things that really make you unforgettable, not the fancy colors and fonts and logos. So let's talk about your vision, your values, and your why. Let's get into some brand strategy stuff, because without that, you are just creating art, and this is not an art class. So if you try to design your brand without purpose or without strategic thinking, without a vision, then you're really just creating something that kind of hopefully looks good, but doesn't really have much substance. And as a business owner, you need to know what your goals are before you begin designing your brand. You've got to get really clear on your brand vision. I mean, are you trying to sell something specific? Are you building awareness? Are you creating a real kind of deep connection with your customers? Are you, differentiating your offers from your customers, your competition, sorry? Are you creating that kind of credibility and trust? Or are you trying to do all of the above? Are you doing all of these things in your brand? And this is why it's really crucial when growing your brand to have a brand strategy in place. I mean, your unforgettable brand design starts with strategy, not design. And that means lots of probing questions. So, who are you? What are your values? What's your why? What's your vision? What are you offering? Who are your perfect customers? What's your personality? What's your tone of voice? What do you want to be known for? I mean, these are just a few questions. The list can go on. And I have put these questions into the handout for this class. So there's no need to really kind of try and screen grab or dump them all down on a piece of paper. You can grab a copy of that and they will be available after this class. When the recording goes up on the page, you'll be able to download little notes and any of the extra workbooks that go with this. We'll be getting into that in a minute. So I'm, of course, not expecting you to actually have the answers to all of these questions right now, but I really want you to kind of note these down and think about them and start thinking about these questions when it comes to designing your brand. But you know that I am all about cracking on and getting stuff done. So we are going to dig into some of this right now. We are going to start to design your brand character. So let's look at your brand values and let's really design your brand character together tonight or over this week. So we're going to play a bit of a word association game for your brand now. Now I'm going to bring up some questions in a minute, and I want you to start writing down words that pop into your head, any word you like. There is absolutely no filtering here. I mean, ideally, we are going to be looking for words that describe your brand, as that is what we're here for. But any word you like is really game. And you can download this as a workbook. Just check in. We have got this as a workbook that's going to be able to, be editable and filled in later. So just play along with me here as we're live and get a kind of feel for what we're doing with these questions. But remember what we were doing last week when we were kind of asking the who are you questions? Well, that was all in warm up to what we are doing with this activity right now. So first up, your core. So how would you describe your personality or your voice, the way that you show up, anything to do with who you are as a person? Are you wise? Are you funny? Are you adventurous? Are you creative? Are you disruptive? Are you sarcastic? Are you witty? What are those descriptive words? Write as many as you can down. And then tribe. Now we're going to kind of flip that question. And how would you describe your audience? Or more specifically, your customers? How would you describe your tribe? Are they, active or busy or fun or quirky or social? Anything goes here. Just really list out as many words as you can. So the goal here is to fill up this worksheet with as many words as you can find. And as I say, I've got a copy of this that you can download, or just grab a big blank sheet of paper and write these headings down similar to this and just go for it. Just note down as many words as you can. Any word that pops into your head. And if you are struggling, then I do have a little kind of values word bank, which you can also download, but here's a little sneak peek at that. So just to give you a kind of idea of the types of words that you could be using, but I don't want you to just copy these for the sake of it. But you can do what I also love to do, which is open up thesaurus.com and just pop a word in there and see what alternative words come up, because you might find that a better word, a more fitting word for what you're trying to say, pops up when you do that. So let's keep going. So the middle column, feeling. What's the feeling that people are left with after they connect with your brand? Are they excited, understood, valued, happy? Are they ready to get cracking? And the impact, then you've got, what is the lasting impact that your brand has on its customers? And I know that this one can be a little bit tricky, so give yourself a bit of time to come back to this if it doesn't flow to start with. But post all of the kind of we don't want to be thinking about the basic benefits of what you do. This is beyond that. We are looking at the lasting changes that your brand has on your customers. So does it improve their confidence? Does it change their relationships with themselves or with others? Does your brand kind of give back in other ways? What's the lasting impact that your brand has in the work that you deliver? And then we've got you. What is your you factor in your brand? And we leave this down to last because, again, it can be a little bit tricky, but what makes you so different to your competition? I mean, other than just being you, even though that is absolutely what we're talking about here. I mean, are you taking, though, a completely different stance on a real industry standard, and why? I mean, are you actually by nature a very plain talking person in an environment where people just spit jargon all the time? Do you lead by example rather than lead by lecture? These kind of things. What's the you factor? What's unique about you in your brand? So I want you to just keep going. until you really have used all of the words that you can possibly think of. And then when you're done with this, take a break, come back and go through your list again and circle the kind of top 5 for each of these columns. And then I want you to keep those safe, because we are going to be using these brand value word banks as they were in our next class, when we are going to take these values and we are going to create your brand pledge. So this is going to be a kind of 1-page summary of what your brand really stands for. And that is going to be the marker that we're going to use to turn your values and your vision for your business into your visual design. That's the flow that we are working through in these workshops together. So we're looking at your values here. We're going to turn that into a brand pledge that really sums up verbally who you are as a brand. And then we're going to take that and we're going to explore that visually so that we can translate the verbal into the visual. So until then, I have got one final thought to leave you with, and that is the Unforgettable Brand Package. Now, I mentioned this at the start, so you do have the chance to win the Unforgettable Brand Package, and that includes entry to the brand and launch program that I run, which is an 8-week brand mentoring program with me, really helping you kind of hands-on brand and launch your unforgettable brand. Then, of course, you are also going to be naming a hat to get hold of a brand strategy session and a brand design session and a brand launch session. And these could all be delivered online if that's easier, or if you are able to get to me, we can actually do this in person. So this prize is valued at a whopping £4,800, approximately. It's probably actually more, because there's actually a couple of little sneaky extra things that I haven't told you about yet. But anyway, to be in with a chance of winning that, all you've got to do is attend all of these workshops, to attend all of the classes, to show up every night this week and really get cracking with your own brand of unforgettable. And then I want you to share your unforgettable moment from each of these classes. So as I said at the beginning, if you've been taking some notes about what stands out to you as we've worked through this, I'm going to be setting up an unforgettable moments post over on Facebook, and you can go and enter what you would say was your most unforgettable moment from our time here this evening. Jot that down on for there, and then that will give you an entry into the prize draw. So all you've got to do, show up this week, do the work, and the more work you do, the more chance you're going to have at winning this prize. Yes, it is a bribe for commitment. Let's call it, though, a reward for your own commitment to your brand this week. So I'm going to be announcing the winner at the graduation party that we will have on the 3rd of February. And all of the details to enter are over at bydesign.co.uk/win. So that, my lovelies, brings us to the end of the very first workshop. And I think we are actually hitting the 40-minute mark. There is something eerie about my 40-minute presentation times. But anyway, I really do hope that you have found some unforgettable moments here for your brand. And I would really love to hear what they are. So please do come on over, share them with me in the group, make a note and put them down on the unforgettable moments thread that will pop up if you do want to kind of enter this prize draw. But do come and share your takeaways anyway from this workshop, no matter what, because I want to hear from you. I want to hear more about your brand, and I really want to be able to connect with you this week to help you create that unforgettable brand. So if you do have any questions that have popped up for you tonight, then I will stick around for a few minutes. I will go and check back in the Facebook group, but there should be as well a Q&A section within this Zoom Slack call. So anyone that's on the Zoom call, you should be able to ask a question in the Q&A section, and that'll appear for me now. So if you have got a question, go ahead and pop that in the comments on the Facebook group or in the Q&A section on Zoom. And I'm going to switch my slides off. Do I do that? Where do I go? Stop share. There we go. So now I can have a little look at the Q&A section to see if we've got any questions, and I can go and open up Facebook to see how we're getting on in there. This is probably where I now log into Facebook and something terrible's gone wrong, and that we've not been broadcasting or something horrific like that. And let me go and have a little look, find if I can find us. There we go. Oh, I don't want to. Shh. Shh. How do I make myself shush? Oh, okay. There we go. Fabulous. Okay, so we don't actually have any questions over on Facebook, which is quite good because I keep I don't need to listen to myself. We don't need to hear me twice here. So, okay, question. Aha, we have got a question that has come in on the Zoom call. Thank goodness for that. It's always a little bit embarrassing if you don't ask questions. So do me a favor, please ask questions. I like questions. Questions are really good. Questions make me realize that you are definitely paying attention. So the question that's come in is, what kind of words are we looking to write down? Okay, so is that when it comes to the brand values, I assume, because when we are looking at our questions that we have where we're looking at our brand values. So basically any words. There's no real kind of specific word type that you're looking for. I mean, descriptive words are best, but don't self-edit at this stage. I really just want you to write down on those columns literally absolutely any word that comes to mind, because what we will do as we move into the next workshop, we will start the kind of editing process there. We will go through and we'll start to look at the kind of words that have come up, and we'll look at how we can start translating that into our brand. So today, for this class, for this session, just jot down absolutely any word that comes to your head. And if you are struggling a little bit, as I say, you will have access to the kind of brand values word matrix, which I've created. But there's also, Google. Just Google brand value words and you'll see loads of options come up. If you're struggling to come up with some words, go and have a look at those and go through and really just see which ones pop out to you. If you're struggling and you're hitting that kind of blank wall and you're not sure what words come up for you, just start Googling, see what words come up and see any that feel or fit right for you. Note them all down, and then go and grab a cuppa and come back and then go through and highlight the ones that really do feel fitting to you. Okay. When's the next class? That's a good question. Have you downloaded the schedule, first of all? There is a schedule, a lovely PDF schedule for you to download. It should be in the Files tab within Facebook. Otherwise, you should have got it on email from me. But our next class is on Wednesday, same time, 7:30, and that is big brand fuck-ups and how to avoid them. I think that's actually the first time I've sworn tonight. That's very good going for me. Good work, Dee. So that on Wednesday, we're going to be talking all about all of the brand fuck-ups that happen and how to really avoid them. And so that's going to be happening at 7:30, same place. I will broadcast into Facebook as well as being on Zoom. So you can come along to that and we will take what we've been working on tonight. We will have a little bit of class and then we will progress into the next stage of building on your brand of Unforgettable. There is a process here. But anyway, if you're catching a replay tonight, I'm going to wind it up now because it's coming up to 8:30. I'm going to go in, get some dinner. Not had any dinner yet. So if you're catching the replay and you've got questions, or you've been here tonight but you didn't have a chance to get a question through to me, then we have got Q and review sessions tomorrow, Tuesday, 7:30, same place, different link, but you'll get my email reminder out to you and I will pop in the Facebook group with the link for that tomorrow. But if you've got any questions on anything that we've talked about so far this evening, come and join me for Q and review tomorrow. I will put a questions thread up in the Facebook group tomorrow morning so that you can come and pop your questions in there in advance in case you can't make it live and you've still got questions and you want those questions answered, then just pop them into the Q and review thread that will appear as if by magic tomorrow. And then you can make sure that your questions are going to get answered. So I will just do another double check into Facebook that I haven't missed any Qs. But I think, my lovelies, yes, I will sign off and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye.